Part 20, Chapter 52. Do you ever get sick of us so-called real people? Julie asked suddenly. Gil looked up, startled. He had been intent on the screen, watching as Norbert followed the group of aliens through the tunnels. Gil wanted to be ready to report to Dr. Myakovsky when the doctor awoke from his nap. But Julie's question seemed worthy of serious thought, and he gave it, though not taking his eyes off the screen that showed Norbert's progress. "I'm afraid," Gil said at last, "that I do not understand the question. It implies a precondition, that there is something in human behavior that I might get sick of. To what are you referring, Julie?" "Wow," Julie laughed. "I didn't expect to get that much out of you. But it isn't an answer. I am asking you to define your question, Miss Lish." "You know very well what I mean," Julie said. Gil found himself caught up and bewildered by the complexities of human thinking. It seemed to him that Julie was saying one thing and meaning another. The technical semantists who had programmed his response bank had not given sufficient attention to the problem of ambiguity. Perhaps they couldn't solve it. Gil and Julie looked at each other for a few moments in silence. Then Gil spoke. "You are referring, perhaps, to the fact that human actions are not always logical in terms of advantage. That they sometimes appear to be downright self-defeating." "Okay, that's one way of saying it," Julie said. "What do you think of that?" Again, Gil paused before answering. "I can only believe that illogic is essential to being human, since it is the only thing we synthetics are not capable of." "You can't go against logic and programming, is that it?" "It is, Miss Lish." Julie didn't answer at once. Presently, she reached out and took Gil's hand. Startled, the synthetic man let it go limp. Julie held it like she had never seen a hand before. She studied it, turning it slowly this way and that. "What an amazing piece of construction this is," she marveled. "How perfectly the skin has been rendered and textured. It's hard to believe that anything as cunning as this could belong to someone not human." "Yet so it is," Gil said. "Is it, or are you just being modest? A very human trait, I assure you." "I don't know," Gil muttered. "One thing I do know is Dr. Myakovsky loves you very much." "Yes," Julie said. "I think he does. It's why he's here, isn't it?" "I believe it is, Miss Lish." "But why then am I here?" "I do not know," Gil said. He hesitated. "It is a difficult way to get rich." "Do you know of any easy ways?" Julie asked. "Do you know any better ways to pass your time on Earth than doing what I'm doing now?" Gil shook his head. "I know nothing about these things." Julie frowned and let his hand drop. "I like you, Gil. though you're very naive about some things. Look, Norbert seems to have reached the Queen's chamber. You're right, Gil said. I'll go and wake up Dr. Myakovsky. I appear to be in an anteroom, deep in the middle of the hive, Norbert reported. I can see the Queen's chamber just beyond. These surfaces and angles resemble nothing in my memory bank, Doctor. They seem to have been constructed according to a completely alien system. But that would stand to reason, wouldn't it? You're doing fine, Stan said over the radio. I just woke up and I'm pleased to see your progress. None of the aliens has sensed yet that you're not one of them. No, Doctor. Though their examinations grow more stringent the deeper we go into the hive. I think we have them foxed, Stan said, sounding very pleased with himself. This anteroom you're in appears to be an interesting place. Can you fix the focus? I can't make out what's on the walls. They are large containers, Norbert said. They appear to be made from a waxy substance, similar in molecular makeup to royal jelly. They appear to be filling those containers with jelly. Might they be storing water? Stan asked. I don't believe so, Norbert said. The containers seem to be holding liquids of slightly different colors and densities. The aliens grow quite excited when they go near these containers. They have to be urged by what I take to be the guards to move on. I think that these containers hold royal jelly deposited by certain especially potent queens or queen types. These may be more efficacious than the common run of jelly and be prized by the queen accordingly. With your equipment, Stan asked, can you ascertain which is the purest? There's no difficulty in that, Doctor. Then draw me off a sample. This sounds like the pure royal jelly I need. After a moment, Norbert said, It is done. Good, Stan returned. We'll meet up soon. Bring the sample with you. What are they doing to Mac? The alien holding him has brought him into the Queen's chamber. He is offering him to the Queen. That is the Queen ahead. The image is not distinct. There is a diffracting vapor in this room, Doctor. It is difficult to make out anything clearly. Take it easy, Mac, Stan said. Why did you speak to the dog? To get him to be quiet, sir. We don't want to mar matters as he is presented to the Queen. She is receiving him now. Although I am no expert in alien physiognomy, I'd say she finds pleasure in the gift. She's holding him up to her olfactory receptors. You should have killed him first, Julie interrupted. I was not instructed to do so, Norbert said. No matter. He is beyond pain now. Doctor, one of the guards is coming over to me. It is to be another inspection. Well, you've passed them before. Yes, sir. But there are 3 guards interested in me this time. It must be because I came so close to the Queen. Or maybe it was when I took the sample. I am stepping up my production of pheromones. Good idea, Stan said. Is it helping any? It doesn't seem to be doing much good. They are making odd head movements. I do not know what it means." "What the hell has gone wrong?" Stan asked urgently. "What are they doing now?" "They seem suspicious. They have seized me. What do you want me to do, Doctor?" "Damn it!" Stan spat. "I should have gotten you out of there before this. Norbert, break free and get out." "Yes, sir," Norbert said. The big robot whirled, tearing himself free from the alien's hooked claws. Then dropping to all fours, he began scuttling down the corridor. A reverse sensor in the back of Norbert's head checked on and showed the view. The long winding tunnel curving behind. The 3 aliens scurrying on all fours after him. Norbert was running full out. Stan had never seen him go so fast before. A thrill of pride went through him as he witnessed his creation in action. With speed like that, surely... Stan could tell from the jarring movement of his sensor lens when the alien guard landed on Norbert's back. Stan winced as though the blow had landed on him. How could the guard be that fast, he wondered. To Norbert he said, "Fight him off! Get out of there!" "I am trying, Dr. Myakovsky, but there are 3 of them." Abruptly, the screen went blank. Stan cried, "Norbert! Can you hear me? Come in!" "Nothing," Gil said. He touched a dial, shook his head. "He's off the air." "He's dead!" Julie cried. "I didn't want this to happen!" Stan screamed. "Not Norbert! Not Norbert!" Julie said urgently, "Stan, get a hold of yourself!" Stan shuddered and let out a deep breath. He seemed calmer. "Can you get Captain Hoban?" he asked. "Not yet, sir," Gil said. Julie had stepped out of the control area for a moment. Now she was back, and her hair was flowing around her head like a network of electrical sparks had gotten into it. "Stan," she said, "I just checked the short-range weather forecaster in the rear cabin. It's going haywire." "Just what we need," Stan groaned. Chapter 53. "There's the Bayport, just ahead," Andy Groggins said. He had run ahead of Badger and the rest of the party. He had a slug thrower with telescopic wire stuck under his arm. Strapped to his waist was a Geist needle. He tied a bit of cloth around his forehead to keep sweat out of his eyes. "We'll just ease our way into it," Red Badger said. His synthide shirt was torn, revealing his hairy, freckled chest and prominent paunch. His small eyes gleamed as he pressed forward. He had a Krag beamer under his arm, its selector pointing to rapid intermittent. The corridor widened at this point. There were separate passageways leading to stores in one direction and to power in the other. As they came out into the wide opened area between corridors, a voice called out, "Freeze, you!" Badger stood motionless. The others, coming along behind him, managed to slink into the shadows, but Red Badger felt very exposed. He didn't let his apprehension show, however. He took 2 casual steps forward and said, "It's all right. The captain sent us." "He didn't tell me nothing about that," the voice said. Badger had it located now. It was coming from a paint locker on the far side of the corridor. The guard who was stationed here must have taken refuge when the trouble began elsewhere in the ship. But where was his partner? "I don't blame you for being cautious," Badger said. "But I'm telling you it's all right. We're here to relieve you." As he talked, he peered ahead, trying to figure out how long it would take him to blast through the paint locker and kill the man inside. Too long, he decided. The guard could get him in a single well-placed burst first. "Stop right there and drop your weapons," the guard called out. "You're making a mistake," Badger said, and kept on coming. "Captain Hoban told us to secure this area as quickly as possible. Damn it, man, this is serious. Stop right now or..." At that moment, there was a double burst of slug thrower fire as Glint and Connie opened up almost simultaneously from opposite sides of the corridor. They held down their fire while the paint locker rattled up and down and bounced against the corridor wall, finally letting up only after blowing the door off its hinges and seeing the single guard inside fall out onto the deck. "Let's go," Badger said, leading the way to the pod. "We're getting out of here." Chapter 54. "It's Badger and his men," one of the engineers remarked, reading the terse information that flowed to the TV screen from all parts of the ship. "He's killed the guard." "Damn it," Captain Hoban said. "Can you see what they're doing now?" "They've just entered the pod." "Seal the ports," Hoban ordered. "Too late. They've already opened them." "Close them again." The engineer punched buttons, then shook his head. "They've locked them into place. They're blasting off." Hoban watched on the screen as a schematic came up, showing the Dolomite's landing pod lifting out of its bay and maneuvering away from the ship's side. "I can still pull them back with the short-range tractors," the engineer said, his fingers poised on the controls. Captain Hoban hesitated. At this range, he knew that the tractors would pull the pod apart. Badger and the others wouldn't stand a chance. He didn't want to go that far. There would be a court of inquiry over this. He needed to keep his record clean. "Book their departure in the ship's log," he ordered. "I don't know that they'll make it," the engineering officer said. "The weather's really bad out there." Hoban looked and saw that an entire weather front had moved in while they were dealing with Badger. Long, ragged clouds covered the planet's surface, clouds that were whipped and torn apart by the wind's violent action. Lightning flashed, huge, jagged blue-violet bolts, several miles long, lancing out of the black-bellied clouds into the naked land below. Although the Dolomite was well above it, Hoban gave an involuntary shudder at the size of the storm. "Try Dr. Myakovsky again," he ordered. "We have to warn him. I'm trying, sir, the officer said. But no luck so far.